fast is the combat? How quick can you transition from one combat sequence to the other? But what about chaining abilities together?
Good question. So we use something called a blackout timer, which is the amount of time that the controller stops accepting input. And by controller, I mean the character controller. So when you start an ability, for 80% of that ability, you are performing the animation. And at the very end, we're saying, okay, you can start performing the next one. So you can left click, and about 80% through that swing, you can press another button, and right when you get to that blackout timer, it will start transitioning to the next attack. Yeah. So you don't have to wait till you return to idle. We let you kind of fluidly blend through at the end of an ability to go to the next one.
Crowfall combat chat.
So physics.
We have physics.
How much more complicated is it designing a system where mass and drag are factors?
What's amusing is that question only calls out two of our little knobs.
Yes.
We have a wall of knobs. We have mass and drag and angular drag and static friction and dynamic friction and gravity and all of these fun little knobs. It is hella complicated is the best way to put that.
Yes.
You touch one of them and something else that you don't understand why is now behaving differently.
You can spend hours perfecting a jump for one value to change, and then your jump is screwed. It's slightly frustrating, but at the same time very rewarding when you get it right.
Yeah, because the character kind of, when he runs through that water, he feels like he's around water.
He does.
When he's on ice, he feels like he's on ice.
Yep.
When we reduce their drag, they float down like a feather. So it works. It's just we need to get better at our understanding of what these knobs do.
We're getting there. Very quickly. There are many various forms of weapons in Crowfall. So, are there differences between slashing and piercing and crushing weapons? And what are they?
They are, in fact. So, right now, since we just got armor online, we now have different mitigation types. There is slashing, crushing, and piercing. And then there's a bunch of magical types as well. We mitigate versus those specifically. So you don't just have a generic armor class and it mitigates equally. And in fact, some of the armors mitigate better than others.
They do.
For example, if you're wearing plate, it's really good against slashing. I think leather is on the opposite end of that spectrum.
It is. No, it's not.
It's not? Which was the weak one to leather? What was the weak to slashing?
I don't remember.
One of them is weak to slashing.
Well, cloth is weak to everything.
Right.
And also...
Well, it's weak to all the physicals.
It's all the physicals. Magical, you're okay. Also, regarding weapons, are there different reaches with a polearm, say, to a sword, to a dagger? What are we doing with that?
Since usually the weapons don't cross over between the archetypes, they will stay the same within an archetype. So if you switch from a slashing to a crushing on the knight, for example, it doesn't increase his range of his powers.
Okay, but...
Right, but it does a different type of damage. But if we're looking at, say, the Legionnaire, who is a ridiculous character anyways, because they have pretty much everything.
And it's a centaur.
And he does everything. You saw the centaur video, I'm sure. He probably does have a little bit of reach with that big giant polearm thing he's got.
You would imagine that he would hit further than the sword. That's probably what...
Because he does everything the best.
Yes.
This is from one of our friends over at Crowns and Crows, I believe.
Okay.
Because he basically, this is the written test.
All right.
Are you ready to make a game?
The written test.
Can you pass this question?
The written test from Crowns and Crows, who stream regularly on Tuesdays on twitch.tv/Crowns and Crows, 8 a.m. Central.
8 a.m.? I think it's like 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
8 a.m.
Or, I'm sorry.
8 a.m. somewhere.
It's 8:30 Eastern.
You know, it's fine. I always watch the reruns. They're better anyway. You can skip the boring parts. Okay. So what are we using for resistances? Is there a catch-all number? Do we have different itemization resistances? What are we doing there? We've already talked about this, really.
Well, yeah, but not in this context. So each piece of gear has its own stats. There isn't an overall character kind of mega armor class like you're used to, right? There is, hey, I got hit in the head, so let me go look at my helmet and see what the stats are on that helmet. So if you're wearing a really crappy or no helmet, the hit's going to hurt harder. General rule of thumb.
Okay.
Okay.
And is there, are we scaling towards a general time to kill? What are we doing with that?
We do have a time to kill.
We do?
It's kind of variable right now. We're sitting into 40 seconds without moving around.
Yep.
Once moving around in the defensive skills, people start getting better with the defensive skills.
Yeah.
Using their blocks when they should. It probably will go out even further than that.
That was a jab at Nick, our animator, who refuses to block and dies very quick when he doesn't block.
He's like, this class is so weak, but I never press my block button. Maybe you should press the block button.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Crowfall combat chat.
Ask me that question. There we go, let's reverse it.
All right. Will the scaling of the defenses be linear or log exponential based?
That sounds like you're asking us if we know what we're doing. And the answer is yes. Thank you and good night.